Hello, everyone. Scribbler Johnny checking in before we continue the horrible beauty. Just wanted to apologize for the inconsistent releasing and also for the fact that you always have to listen to me breathing. I don't have the best setup and my respiratory health ain't great, so I guess I just sort of breathe extra loud anyway. Where we left off, the glorious eggs had been having a bit of an emotional time, and Etta was in need of some reassurance. So we will resume right where that left off. Chips brought Felice forward to the others, and they joined into a group embrace. I want this marriage to last. You make me so happy. I have the best wives in the whole world. I include you too, Fifi, Chips affirmed. Admit it, you're really loving having all these tits pressed into you, Kumak said. I will never deny it. I love them too. Kumak giggled. Especially Bunny Big Tits. Don't try to get me to pick favorites. It's not fair. They separated. Etta reached to tickle Kumak. You remember the rule about that name? Felice laughed. Bunny Big Tits. It's too good. She was bent over laughing. The rule is that name is never used outside private settings because it could stick. Yes, it could. Her laughter was infectious, and the others joined in. Felice paused and gave it a kiss. I promise to obey the rule, Mrs. Big Tits. You'd better, or I'll make up a ridiculous name for you, like, Fifi Titstar. She giggled, and the others laughed at this as well. Kumak clapped. Me next, me next. Kissy Mound Bust. Kumak giggled. And now Chips. Dick Ravenbone, Felice said. And then she smiled at Chips. Hey there, handsome. I'm Fifi Titstar. Wanna Ravenbone me? He grinned. Sure thing, Miss Titstar. The ridiculous name game broke down the walls between them. They turned into the bedroom and sat in a circle wearing their nightclothes and began to just tell jokes. The jokes grew increasingly ribald, and it was not long before very playful love-making ensued. The next morning saw that Kumak was still in her larger size. I wonder, when will you go into your heat period again? Kumak asked. Felice answered first. I think my next time is coming up in about a week. Kumak added, I'm starting my monthly. Moogles do that? Monthly? Like humans? Chips asked. Kumak nodded. My heat won't be for a few months, said Etta. Why did you ask? Well, because I'm in my period. Does it make you lusty? Not much. Mostly crampy. Tell them the truth, Kumak. Okay. I want one of us to have a baby next. Felice blinked. Can humans and Moogles? Not normally, but I prayed for a miracle. I see. I'm not sure I'm ready for motherhood. Whoever is. We'll all help. It'll be great. Hold on, Etta interjected. I hate to rain on the picnic, but children cost money and we already have 3. We have a lot of money, but we pay our taxes next month and the king takes his share. We'll need to make more money before we can have a 4th child. Have you sold the dragon parts yet? No. Aren't those very valuable? They are. You see, we can take a break for a while, make some investments, sell some goods, craft some other things, and raise our children. Hmm. Okay. First, we add Felice to the marriage, and then we add the children to the family. And then we visit Scarlinda, Kumak chimed in. They all agreed. After breakfast, during which Nappa cuddled with Etta, ate with Chips, and Hephzibah with Kumak, they went to see the governor. Kumak had shrunk down to her usual size before they went outside. The governor looked at each hatchling and had 3 birth certificates drawn up, which were signed with their names. Their marriage license was replaced by a new license featuring all 6 names. Congratulations. Are you going to wait at least a year before marrying again? He asked. No guarantees, Kubek cheerfully replied. The governor sighed. They went to their hotel to where Charcy and Masha were staying, and they invited them to get new dresses for the upcoming wedding. They were happy to be invited along with all the other ladies, and set off to Scarlinda's, leaving the children with the husbands, who went back home. And they had a grand time playing with the children and taking a nap when they did, feeling that they had earned it. Scarlinda was pleasantly surprised. Shall we make a matching fascinator for her? Yes, please. But maybe instead a hat pin. She'll be wearing a fabulous hat. Ah, I see, a hat. I don't make hats, but Bindi does nicely. I'll do something to work with that hat idea. And she decided on the white brocaded snapdragon fabric to match with Sasha and cut it with shorter sleeves to flaunt her toned and fit arms, as Sasha's had also, and a high collar to match the others, with slits down the thighs. For the bridesmaids, solid green with white belt sashes and low necklines as a contrast, with long sleeves that were also slit on both sides up the thighs. Scarlinda sighed at her sketches. The sexiest bridesmaids I've ever dressed. Thank you, Mont Blanc. You're welcome, the 3 countesses answered. And then Masha blushed. I'm sexy? Of course, darling. You 2 will be very eligible bachelorettes. It seemed Scarlinda had come out of her cocoon. Masha grew thoughtful. And what if I do marry here? There are plenty of traditionalists home. They visited Bindi's studio next, and told her about the hat idea. Why not hats for them too? Asked Cousin Bindi. A grand idea, cousin, applauded Kumek. By the way, are your spouses caring for your needs? I have lithographs I can show them to instruct them on how to love a Mugu properly. No need, Bindi. I am very well cared for. Instructional lithographs for interspecies romance? Masha asked. Of course, Bindi replied. I'm not too old to teach you either. Kumak interrupted. I promise it will be fine. There's no need at all. Suit yourself, cousin. She made some notes. Kiss me goodbye, ladies. I have work to do. When they returned home to find the children and the husband sleeping, Etta began working on cooking the next meal, with Kumak's assistance. Sasha read some poetry to their guests to entertain them. After some time, the husbands woke and kissed each wife, bidding their guests welcome. And then there was a knock at the door. Baron DiCarlo was very angry as he entered the sitting room. 1,000 lead ingots, he shouted. Etta entered, wiping her hands on her apron. I gave you 1,000 coins, as promised. I didn't say gold. You tricked me. You also got to live. He stopped, and then smiled. Fair. You dealt with me fair. He knelt. I, Giuseppe DiCarlo, Swear fealty to Mont Blanc. Kumak touched his head. Rise, vassal. Your livery will be delivered soon, with the promised food and your wages. Your first duty is to rid those forests of bandits. He rose, grinning. I have just the solution. You will have the thanks of the crown and a royal reward. He bowed. Good day, my lords and ladies, and he left with a flourish. Very smooth, observed Seven. Etta and Kumak smiled at each other. We plotted it together, Kumak announced. Masha sighed. I was worried. Charcy retorted, Not me. He was alone, and together we could annihilate his men. They are ill-equipped and untrained rabble. Yes, Etta replied, but this solution is more elegant. No one could argue that. Soon, Count Montblanc, Kumak's father, received a letter from Sir Giuseppe DiCarlo informing him that the bandit problem was fully resolved and to send his compliments to His Majesty. Sir Giuseppe, the sheriff, received his livery, his food allowance, and his annual wage, and a gift of some extra gold from the crown. Not only was he the sheriff of Leanie's Mill, he was now officially a knight of Cassandra. Everyone won. It was, well, glorious. They made their plans for a much smaller wedding ball, though the announcement was public and the wedding ceremony was also open to the public. Fortunatus had been invited to be a groomsman, which he cheerfully accepted. He also needed a new suit, and a headscarf and a belt sash, which Viscountess Bindi Flurflam happily designed for him. When they met, Fortunatus flirted openly with Masha. She was quietly informed about him, and she declared, I don't care. I like him, and I can have him all to myself if we marry. Who else can claim such a thing? And a romance did blossom between the two. Charcy kept her peace, though she did have some disapproval. The attendance at the wedding was sparser this time around. Etta, Kumak, and Sasha each held a child at the ceremony, and Felice carried a bouquet adorned with the Mont Blanc crest. Masha and Charcy were holding long-stemmed violets. The ceremony was identical to its predecessor. Only family and close friends attended the ball this time. Felice faintly glowed with happiness. Her smile seemed to only rest, never fade. Each spouse took a turn dancing with the guests as before, and Masha danced with Fortunatus and with each husband. Charcy avoided dancing, except for a circle dance that everyone participated in. The ball lived up to the tradition. That night all the spouses fell to heavy sleep, cradling each other, and also the children. In the night, Sasha was awoken by a hungry Hephzibah and Nappa. She groggily carried them to the sitting room. Mummy will bring some food and water, loves. Just you wait here. She faintly staggered to the kitchen and brought back a water bowl and some sliced ham. The children held the food themselves and drank, if messily. Sasha had to change their nappies too, but they were content after that, and fell asleep in her arms as she swayed and hummed a lullaby. She carried them to their nursery room and slept on the floor beside the nest. Chips was in Felice's arms with his mouth agape, and Felice dreamed about flying, seeing the oceans and the continents beneath her. And then she saw dragons of every description, more than she had heard of or read about. Beneath a mountain, She saw a colossal, many-headed dragon sleeping, but also stirring. And the other dragons whispered to each other, and then to people that she now saw, adorned in the armor of dragoons, or wearing the crests of draconic knighthoods. She tried to find any familiar faces, but saw none. And then an unheard signal sounded, and a great slaughter began. Every team supporting themselves, but also making hasty alliances. Few stood alone. She saw Topaz ally with Copper, but in spite of their unity, they were outnumbered and died in droves. She saw a blue and yellow scaled topaz dragon with a rider, and in that saddle she recognized her husband. She saw them avenge their fallen comrades and rally the survivors. And then another signal, and the fighting simply stopped. But the carnage was unspeakable. Entire cities demolished, landscapes ruined. But the colossal dragon was still once more. The armies returned home, and she saw Grimhordad VII rocking beside a blue and yellow scaled mataka. And then that strange mataka removed her clothing and spoke to him, lifting her tail and kneeling. Seven moved as if in a trance and coupled with her. More and more such pairings she saw. Male and female dragons controlling the wills of people, using heroes as breeding stock. She was shaken by horror. She understood. This was a cycle. Rape, birth, growth, slaughter. She silently screamed. And then she saw a garden bathed in starlight. Lotus flowers so white as to appear made of alabaster. She saw the mother of Alvierna approach her. She knelt. "Rise, daughter. I never told any of my children to kneel. Who told you to do that?" She stood and said nothing. "I know," the mother of Alvierna said sadly. "It's horrible." Felice nodded. "Why do the gods allow this?" "Because Tiamat, if allowed to wake, would lead her children on a rampage across the world, almost annihilating all life on your world. So, when the population of dragonkind reaches a size that starts to rouse her from her slumber, they and their allies battle to reduce their numbers, and then repopulate. A kind of balance is maintained, with different breeds growing in numbers to be more dominant as the cycle grows on. So the gods do nothing. Oh, we do some things. We ameliorate the damage done. We inspire heroes to greatness. And we help rebuild." Felice frowned. "Why show me this? I like teaching my children. Why me specifically?" "Ah, I would like you and your family to help care for refugees and to help Grimhordad VII recover so that I can win a bet with Mataka herself." "And what's the bet?" "She, optimist that she is, bets that he'll fall on his spear after going mad. This will be the second time a dragon raped him, you see. But I bet that he comes back from it stronger than ever and becomes a champion of the oppressed." Felice sniffed one of the flowers. It smelled like love. Felice, would you like sons? Yes, mother, thank you. You can have them, but don't thank me. I haven't helped you. Would you like my help? Yes, please. The mother gave her a bag. These seeds will grow into my lotus flowers, which can be used to brew a tea to cure melancholy and ailments of the psyche. Etta will know how. Why not give them to her? Both of you get some. Growing them will help you two to bond. Will these cure her? Yes, and they will be a great help to others. So it will behoove you to cultivate them well, to make medicine after learning how that tea works. Why not just make medicine to begin with? Etta is stubborn, and she distrusts me, even though I turned her hair brown. I thought she dyed it. Even down there? Felice shrugged. Now, I changed her. I am experimenting. I wanted to see what will happen with the brown-haired Vienna. May I make a request? Ask. Please, make Fortunatus able to father sons. Oh, that? That's your request? Yes, I didn't think you'd grant a selfish one. The mother smiled at her gently. It will be so. Oh, and Kumak, she wants children too. Mugus and humans cannot breed, my child. I couldn't change that anyway. What about the Mugu god? There is no Mugu god. I see. She'll be disappointed, I know. She can follow in her heroine's example if she wants children. Etta had a much shorter conversation with the mother. She simply said, no. I refuse to believe that that war is unavoidable. How can you imagine how to keep Tiamat asleep when the number of active dragons in the world is what's going to wake her? I don't know, but I'll think of something. Also, are you honestly telling me that my sadness is a sickness of my mind treatable with a medicine made from flowers grown on the moon? You have to understand my confusion. I told you the truth. You will see after you use the blossoms in a tea. Later, you will find out that it works better if you make an extract into medicine. As you say, you're the goddess. Yes. So I'll give you these. Do take care of yourself. Thank you. 7 dreamed of war. The next day, Etta was in the library, studying dragons. Almost all day she read. When she got home, she fenced with Felice. When are we going to plant the moon lotuses? Felice asked. Sooner is better than later, I guess. I think we should get supplies tomorrow, then. Etta lost by 2 points. Her weight loss was becoming more noticeable, and that night Felice and Chips made love quietly while the others slept. Basking in the afterglow, she whispered, Chips? Yes, love? Has Etta talked to you about her dreams much? No, some things she's very private about. I see. Well, my goddess has spoken to both of us in dreams. There's going to be a dragon war. I have seen the carnage. Chips was silent. Sugar Chips? I'm still here. I'm just terrified. Me too. Etta thinks she can stop it. We need to discuss this. We all need to decide our plan. She nodded, and she curled up and rested her ear against his chest, and fell asleep listening to his heartbeat. Chips stared into the darkness. A war of dragons. Gods, the horror. Our children. How will we keep them safe? He thought. Ishtar did not visit his dreams, nor did any of his ancestors. Over breakfast, the whole family discussed this impending war, these flowers, and Etta's plans to try and prevent the war. I have learned that dragons live for centuries, and they can live longer by going into a kind of hibernation. My plan is to try and convince a group of dragons to hibernate, and then for another group to slumber after those wake. The plan is logical, but for one flaw. Dragons don't trust each other. They won't trust anyone who knows they're in the dragon sleep to not try to rob or murder them. And his ears drooped. Gee, you know dragons better than any of us. What if we arranged for guards? Guards for sleeping dragons? Guards for eggs? We could make a truly amazing thing happen. That would work if... Her ears perked. We need to. Okay, so then we need to talk to the knighthoods, Kumak chimed in. Yes, we need to talk to all of the dragoon knighthoods, the Templars, the Hospitallers, the Paladins, the Quills, all of them. And then Hephzibah chimed in, Knights! The family cheered for her. Sasha said, I think we need to decide if we're going to all travel together or if we'll split up, leaving some home with the children and the flowers, of course. Etta frowned. Split? It makes practical sense, but I hesitate. I don't like being separated. Sasha added, we should put it to a vote. The vote was 2 against, 4 in favor. So having decided to split into 2 groups, they then decided how to divide themselves. It was decided that Masha, Sasha, the children, and Kumak would remain behind, and Etta, Felice, Charcy, Chips, and Seven would venture outward. Of those 2, they would split into 2. Charcy, Felice, and Chips in one group, Etta and Seven in the other. They planned out their journey, and the children began to get restless, so Sasha and Kumak left to take them to the children's room to play and sing some songs. We'll need to inform our employees about the plan too, Chips announced. Of course, added Etta. We'll inform them and ask for their input after we have something solid. What I think, Seven began, is that we need to begin with one group addressing the larger knighthoods that are easy to approach, while the other goes to the smaller and more remote orders. I agree, replied Felice. That way we show no favoritism, and we reach more people in the time that we travel. With that decided, they invited Masha and Charcy over to discuss things. Masha was wearing something other than her mend mage robes for once, and Etta noticed that she was a little chubby as well. Charcy looked ready to go hunting. Fortunatus had invited himself along. Everyone gathered in the sitting room, with the children getting passed about as conversation moved, much to the delight of the children. While we're away, we'd like you to live in the house, assisting with the flowers and the herb garden, Masha, Felice explained. Can Fortunatus move in too? I see no reason why not. Save coin on your rent that way. Charcy, do you have anything to say? Charcy nodded. We should begin with the Order of the Gold Dragon. The Hospitallers are in the same city as them, Cleveport. I have no fault in that plan, Etta replied. We'll begin with Topaz, Seven added. And then it was decided. The next day they made their arrangements. Spring had not yet come, but it was threatening. They didn't actually leave until 3 days after that. They spent the time getting as much time with each other as they possibly could. Kumak was convinced that she had gotten pregnant, but she kept this to herself, wanting to make it a surprise and to also wait to have some proof. And Felice began the period of her heat while on the road. That night, Felice couldn't resist and very aggressively made love with Chips while Charcy watched them, feigning sleep. Charcy almost unconsciously reached underneath her dress. Felice noticed this, but said nothing. Chips was oblivious. The following morning, no one said anything about it. That night, however, Charcy couldn't keep it in any longer. I saw you running last night. It made me hot. I'm sorry for spying. Don't be sorry, Felice admonished her. We weren't hiding, though we were hoping that you were asleep and undisturbed. Yes, sorry we woke you, Chips added. It's fine. Felice is having her period, and she's your wife. It's natural. Felice smiled. You said you got hot. Charcy blushed. Yeah? Are you beginning yours soon? I'm a day overdue. That's right. We synced. Masha should be beginning hers, too. Chips felt quite embarrassed at this frank discussion, and being reminded about how well the two Vierna knew each other and how he and Charcy were virtually strangers. Chips, Charcy asked. Yes, Charcy? Will you help me when I'm in heat? It doesn't have to mean anything, you know. Charcy, I'm not sure I could have it mean nothing. I don't work that way. Oh, well, maybe it could be bonding between comrades? Okay, I'm okay with that. I want you to trust me and be a good partner to you. It can bind us. Oh, good, Felice chirped. Then we can be sharing sisters. Sharing sisters? Vierna who have made love to the same man have shared him. It's a beautiful thing that brings us closer to each other, just as if we were sister wives or sword sisters, which we already are, Charcy explained. Etta didn't see sharing like that. Etta's not like most Vierna. She's different in a lot of ways. After tuning in, Felice began to show affection to Chips, and the three of them rutted. I'm going to skip the details because I have to avoid getting taken down. So just use your imaginations, I guess. That afternoon, they were accosted by brigands as they were riding through the forest. As the spokesman was telling them to hand over their money, he then paused. Why are you smiling? He demanded. I'm Count Montblanc, and you are attempting banditry in the land under the protection of my sheriff and vassal Giuseppe DiCarlo. My companions and I will disarm you and leave you to his mercy. The brigand paled. DiCarlo? Montblanc? Chips only continued to smile. A brigand stepped out of the tree line and spoke to the spokesman. The words to Vierna could be heard. You may pass. Please forgive us. Oh, I can't do that. Orders of the king. Surrender and you live. Don't, and I can't guarantee your safety. The brigands ran. Chips nodded to Felice, who launched a small fireball into the air, which detonated high overhead, making a loud explosion. They continued, confident that things would be taken care of, having signaled the Baron's men. Rather, the sheriff's men. During their journey, both Charcy and Felice conceived, but it was some time before they knew this. They reached Cleveport without further incident, and they had a lot of time to share and grow, and for their bonds to become strong. And Charcy quite quickly felt like a member of the family, and grew fond of Chips, but she never mentioned marriage. That first night in Cleveport was the last night of their periods. Chips was quite tired, but he did his best to satisfy them both. Charcy was second in order that night. To rest a bit and take the time to be affectionate, Chips spent a lot of time just kissing and touching her. And he felt quite better now, feeling a strong love for the archer. He admired her strong shoulders and her muscular abdomen, and her firm, high bosom, combined with her brown skin, white hair, and delicate features, made her quite attractive to him, though she was more petite and shorter than the others. She sighed and said, "This is nice, but I do want more than just touch." And then they made love. And Charcy thanked him, and she promised to work for him and be loyal forever. Felice gave her a kiss. "I need my husband back now, Charcy." "Aw, I like him right where he is." There in her arms, she smiled, but reluctantly she unwrapped her legs from around his waist and gave him a parting kiss. And Felice gently pulled him into her own embrace and lay down. "You are a good man, Sugar Chips." "Thank you. Sleep now?" "Yes, love." Chips slept, and over his sleeping head, Charcy and Felice conversed in Vierna. "I think you want to have a baby," Charcy said. "Do you?" "Would I be a good mother, do you think?" "I think so." "Would I?" "No, you are too sex-crazed." This made them giggle. "I do love sex, with the right people." "Are you sad that I'm married now?" Felice asked. "No, I'm happy for your huge family." "Will you want to marry?" "No, I much prefer being free. I don't want to settle down." "Are we free now?" "Yes." "So just get yourself the right marriage, a great one like mine." "You are very happy. I see that. Forgiveness, huh?" The next morning they scheduled to meet with the commander of the Hospitaller Knights later that afternoon, and the Gold Dragoons the following day. Chips was relieved. Apparently, even being a minor noble of Cassandra had some benefits. After arranging the appointments, they ate at a cafe, enjoying the sunshine. "Charcy, what will happen if you do conceive?" Chips asked her. "I'll have your baby, and then I'll take her home to be raised by the matrons, according with tradition." "What if I want to raise her?" "Do you think you're the first human to ask that? It's tradition. I was raised by the matrons. Felice was raised by the matrons. Masha was raised by the matrons. Alana grew up with her mother and father. We all turned out fine. You're set on that? This way I can return to work after just a little downtime." "It's best." Chips frowned. "Felice, what about you?" Same. If you want to raise a Vienna, your best chance would be Etta. She hates the matrons. But they'd be my daughters, too. Why don't I have a vote? If I do conceive, we will decide as a family. Okay, then. If. Charcy spoke up. There's a reason we have 2 heats a year. 2? At 2 different times. 2 Vienna wives who are insatiable on top of it. And 2 more wives. I'm doomed. Don't forget me, boss. Charcy laughed. Felice joined her. And what will he do if he's traveling with Masha and he's the only one around? Chip sighed at this. A man has limits. The Vienna teased him without mercy for the rest of the meal, joking about needing alchemical assistance and lots of savings. In time, they changed into formal attire that they had packed for the trip and headed over to meet the knights of the hospital. The knight commander was an elderly human with a very long mustache. Thank you for agreeing to see us with so little warning, Chips began. It's my pleasure, my lord. How can I aid Cassandra? Well, we know that a dragon war is brewing, and we've got a plan to prevent it. Is that possible? It will take a lot of diplomacy and work, but we have a chance. To prevent such carnage, we must try, Trips insisted. Tell me more. He readily agreed, and then sent word to the other leaders immediately. I'll tell the paladins also. We're friends, with similar goals, he assured them. They thanked him and returned to their room. Far away, Etta and Seven reached Tasnica long before their partners reached Cleaveport, and Knight Commander Mika listened to them gravely. Are you sure you're a topaz? This would mean your chance at glory. We are comparatively few. We have to try and break the cycle. Simply because it has been done does not mean that it should be done. Your words are prudent, Lieutenant. You have my support. Good luck dealing with the other knighthoods. And as they returned to his quarters, I hope things are going as easily for the others, Etta remarked. Seven nodded his agreement. The next closest to them were the Templars. The Knights of the Temple were wise, mostly Mataka warriors who could counter the work of mages with their spiritual power, even preventing them from casting their spells. They would be able to see the Templar High Lord that evening after dusk. Seven was optimistic. Etta was ebullient. I know it's going to work. We're already off to a great start, she declared. We're starting with the friendly and the prudent knights. Things may not go so well with rival or with more bloodthirsty orders, like the greens, the reds, or the emeralds. And then there are the famously aloof silvers and the far-away remote whites. Etta was undeterred. Destiny, husband, destiny! He embraced her and gave her rump a squeeze, which made her giggle. Thank you for reminding me that I'm still desirable. The Templar High Lord was a heavily scarred Mataka. He was missing an eye and also one hand. I'm impressed that you came so late. Only the dedicated would do so. I'm listening. After they explained their plans, he agreed to pledge his support to the cause. It was a good opportunity for experience, and to collect pay from dragon hordes was perfectly agreeable. Although no dragon had agreed to that part yet, he was confident that many would. It was a good beginning. Masha did not conceive in this time for her hate period, not for want of trying, and she proved to be a good gardener. The flowers were healthy, and they had plenty of Etta's fertilizer. The children grew as children do, talking and learning and getting into mischief, but they were good, and they caused their mother and stepmother no grief. They loved their siblings and their family, and hardly missed their other parents. Next, they had a meeting with the Knight Commander of the Order of the Silver Dragoons. He was himself half dragon and over a century old. I doubt any dragon will agree to your plan, even if the knights do. They are untrusting, and many are greedy and jealous. No one wants to be dominated by Tiamat or lose their followers to a preventable slaughter either, Etta replied. Sir Knight, why does she speak as if she is among her equals? Etta flushed at this. Countess Montblanc speaks the truth, sir. I'll support your plan, Topaz. Give my regards to your commander. Thank you, sir. Etta fumed as they returned to the hotel room. The nerve! Most knights are very mindful of rank. I think you're great still. Bloody silver bastard. The meeting with the commander of the Gold Dragon saw them with a middle-aged human woman who was wearing a fine dress with her armor on a display. She looked as if she had walked past the training hall for a long time, much less get into any practice. I had heard stories of the human with two Vienna wives in Cassandra. Well, she is my wife, and she is an employee, Mum, Chips replied, indicating Felice and Charcy. Oh, you are not that man? My other wives are not with us, Chips replied. Ah. She listened thoughtfully to their plan. I will agree on condition. Yes? A man capable of pleasing 4 wives of different species must be formidable. Come to my bed tonight, and I'll support you. He looked at Felice, and Felice shrugged. Greater good, she said. Charcy nodded her agreement. Chip sighed. Agreed, milady. She smiled. Stay in our hall tonight, ladies. I'll return him to you unharmed in the morning. The greater good, love. Chips did not like so much riding on his, shoulders. The Knight Commander was no beauty, and she needed to use some warming oil, but she was enthusiastic once the lights were off, and Chips found that he was able to perform as needed, though he felt used and unclean, even as she pledged her support and loyalty. He slept poorly that night, feeling great shame. Your first human, and it's not even someone who loves you, his hateful inner voice taunted him. You haven't had your Undine yet. Maybe she'll help you feel better. You shut up, he willed the voice to silence. And in the morning, the commander brazenly reached out to fondle him. Care for another go, sweetheart? I believe our business is concluded, Mum, he replied coldly. He dressed without looking at her and left without another word, holding on to his boots as he walked. It took entirely too long to be reunited with his wife for his comfort. I feel unclean, he told the Vienna in the guest room. Oh, poor Chips. Come here, husband. Felice embraced him, and Charcy doted on him, patting him on the shoulder. Was she so horrible? My first human, and it was her. He buried his face into Felice's ample bosom. Charcy embraced him from behind. I can tell this really upsets you. Let's hurry onward. The black and the blue are next, and I'll love you up on the road. Me too, Charcy chimed in. I'll make you forget all about that hag. They hurried on their way, neglecting to buy more food, which they later regretted, requiring them to make camp partway to their destination so Charcy could hunt. Chip spent quite a long time in Felice's arms. I'd do it again for the greater good, but I will not be happy. Felice hushed him, and before long Charcy returned, and she was carrying a young boar. Well, half of one. I had to leave the rest to a bear, she explained. Thank the mother you're unhurt, Felice said. The meat was delicious. Charcy made good on her word, and Felice cheerfully contributed too. The love of his wife was just what he needed, but he would certainly never kick Charcy out of bed. He was uncertain how he should feel about Charcy. He was falling in love with her, he knew that, but he thought that she wanted to keep distance. So he tried to follow her lead and to not go any further than she led him. Charcy, for her part, was quite fond of him, even a little possessive, but the L word, well, that was scary. She was used to the idea of loving and leaving, like the matrons had taught her, but that bond was there, tying her to him, tying her to the family.